Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm doing studies of eyes, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about studies and how they can benefit you as an artist. So just a little backstory on where I'm coming from with all of this. So I'm not the kind of person who sketches every single day. If you want to improve, the more you practice, the faster you're going to improve. But I guess I'm just not the kind of person who sits down with a sketchbook every day to sketch. And I've tried getting into that habit and I can never stick with it. I still draw quite a bit, but not as much as I should. And if I want to see more improvement in my art, I need to do more because I am seeing improvement. I look back on my art, I can see, compare like 3 years ago to now, I'm like, wow, I draw better now than I did back then. But I feel like I should have made more progress, and I'm at the point where I really want to level up my art. The thing that really got in my head that I want to improve faster was working on my book. It's like a how to draw type of book. This opportunity was brought forth to me, and I was unsure about it at first because I thought, I'm not qualified to do this. My skill level's not where it should be for me to do something like this, but it was a dream come true. I could not turn it down, but I felt insecure about it at the same time. And working on it has really inspired me to better myself and better my art. So that's sort of the main thing that's leading up to this. I just finished working on it last month, and I want to dive into trying to level up my art and push myself to be better. So one of the first things I'm doing is I want to do a series of studies. They're not all necessarily going to be YouTube videos like this, but this one is. I'm starting off with the basic kind of cliche thing to draw, eyeballs. So my plan is to start off with eyes and then, move on to mouths, noses, whatever, just kind of move on to different body parts and then do a full face, do full bodies more, just really try to teach myself more because I think I've gotten very complacent and I just draw things the same way all the time. I mean, there's variation, but it's at a point where I'm not happy with how it looks. And I know if I did studies, I would draw better, and that's why I want to do it. I think a big struggle for me has also been that art is not my only area of interest in life. It's what I've chosen to do as my career, but it's not the only thing I'm into. I don't want to spend every waking moment drawing. I don't necessarily want to sketch every day, even though that is ideal. I know a lot of people really stress that draw every day, but don't feel like you're a bad artist if you don't. It's just that you have no one to blame but yourself if you don't sketch every day and you don't improve, is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Is you need to do it, but for me, it's pretty hard because there are other things I want to do in my life, and I'm busy doing adult things and doing a lot of behind-the-scenes businessy stuff. Some days I don't have time to draw, and other times I could squeeze in a bit of time to draw, but I'd rather just lay on the couch staring into space because I'm tired, stuff like that. So I'm not necessarily forcing myself to draw every day because I know I won't, but I'm pushing myself to draw more and to get used to sketching more. And I wanted to kick it off with these studies because studying from life really, really helps improve your art. And I had some people on social media when I started these studies, they're like, why are you doing realism studies? You don't do realism, so this is not going to help you. It's pointless. And I was like, girl, no. It's pretty common knowledge that learning the fundamentals and studying from life is probably the number one way to improve your art because everything, no matter how stylized your art is, it's all based off real life. Even if you're doing surrealism or something like that, or abstract art, it's still based off real life. I guess the exception would be if you're like throwing splatters of paint at a canvas, whatever. You probably don't need to do realism studies if you're doing something like that. But for me, I draw characters and people, so I should be studying anatomy and that kind of thing. So that's where I want to improve, and it will help regardless of your style. And I honestly wouldn't mind moving my style slightly more to semi-realism because right now it's pretty cartoony, and like I said, it varies, but I would like it to be a little more semi-realistic, and I want my features to look differently. Like, I'm not always happy with how I draw noses and lips and things like that. And so if you're not happy with it, you have to go study from life, see what it actually looks like. Don't draw from your imagination all the time. It's like a kid drawing stick figures because they don't understand what a body actually looks like. And even a lot of adults don't really know how to draw things beyond a stick figure because they've never really trained their eyes to observe what things truly look like. Because I believe that anyone can draw. Anyone can learn to draw as long as they're physically and mentally capable. They can learn if they teach themselves and take the time to actually learn it. So you just need to be observant and actually pay attention to the details of how things actually look. And that will improve your art so much, no matter what style you're drawing in. I know a lot of people get stuck in their ways and they're in denial that they need to study things from real life in order to improve their art, but honestly, that's the truth. And a lot of people also don't want to believe that practice is what makes your art better. Putting in the hours, they just want to, read the right book. Oh, if I read the right book or watch the right YouTube tutorial, my art will be better. But no, you have to put in the time and you have to try to study the right things. Don't just draw everything from imagination. You need to learn what things really look like. And then once you're really good at that, you could easily draw realistic stuff just from imagination. Or if you're not into realism, you can just draw whatever style you like to draw in, and you can do it well because the foundations are there. People always want the quickest way to get to the finish line, but it's not about going fast. It's about putting in the time. And here's the secret too, there is no finish line. There is no point where your art is suddenly considered good. You're always going to get that desire to improve, and something you might think is really good one day might look horrible to you the next day, or a few years later you might look at it and go, oh, I thought that was really good back then, but actually it wasn't. It's a never-ending staircase, and the more you keep climbing without stopping, the higher you'll get. And some people are happy with where they're at, and they're not trying to reach the higher steps. They're comfortable where they are, and in my opinion, there's no problem with that. If you are 100% happy with what you do, don't feel pressured to rigorously sketch and do studies to improve. But if you're like me and you do want to improve, then you have to put in the work. And a lot of this is me talking to myself, by the way, trying to get myself geared up and be like, girl, get your butt in gear, because if you want to improve, you got to put in the work. There's no way around it. As long as you keep drawing, you're going to keep evolving as an artist until the day you die. That is really the only finish line that possibly exists. So just keep going.